Army of Darkness is the third film in the remarkable The Evil Dead series, and was directed and co-written by the brilliant Sam Raimi. Set after the events of Evil Dead 2, it continues the adventures of Ash Williams, who's thrown back in time to defeat the forces of the dead like a champion. Doubling down on the franchise's dark humor and absurdity, creatures, inventive special effects, stellar execution from Raimi, and another impeccable performance by Bruce Campbell, the movie is as wacky as it gets.
Oh, I'm blind.
Hey guys, what's happening? Niyat here with Film and Comics Explained, and as requested, today we're requisitioning our chainsaws and boomsticks to explore Army of Darkness.
We wanted to do Army of Darkness as the second Evil Dead. We wanted to have it be called, Medieval Dead. Because at the end of Evil Dead 2, he lands and he's in a strange land, and so that's where Army of Darkness picks up.
After working on the 1990 film Darkman with Universal, Raimi wanted to revisit The Evil Dead on a grander scale. During the pre-production of The Evil Dead 2, the concept of a movie set in the Middle Ages was discussed but never came to fruition. With support from a major studio and a larger budget, the timing was right for Raimi to realize the offbeat adventure. Helped by his brother Ivan Raimi, who stars in the film, along with their other brother Ted, they co-wrote the script in a few months.
You're following Cool Hand Luke, Bruce Campbell as Ash going into this world. Doesn't matter what they're going through, but once you love a character, you're going to go along for the ride, and I think that's why Army of Darkness holds up so well.
The story began as a 43-page script that featured a one-eyed Ash going back in time. Raimi wanted to name the film Medieval Dead, but Universal declined. Producer Irvin Shapiro came up with Army of Darkness, and Raimi was willing to have Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness in subtitle form. Unfortunately, the production company wanted a standalone title to ensure that people unfamiliar with the first two films would still want to see it, and so they ultimately settled on Army of Darkness, but the UK DVD release still has the subtitle Army of Darkness, The Medieval Dead.
The character Ash is so not the right guy. He's not a Navy SEAL. He works at S-Mart, and he's cocky, and he makes horrible mistakes. And this is the guy that you're spending $11 million on.
With a budget of $11 million, filming began in mid-1991 over a 100-day shooting schedule. Locations included Griffith Park and Vasquez Rocks Natural Park, both located near Los Angeles, California, while the set of Lord Arthur's castle was constructed in the Mojave Desert near Acton, California, where the crew endured blistering heat and freezing nights during the summer shoot.
A little bit on the outside up to the first story, and then the rest was matted in. It was all effects after that. But the thing stood for a while. We're not going to take it down. It was not in our deal to take it down. They said go ahead and leave it. They shot a few music videos there.
Many of the indoor scenes were filmed on specialized sound stages that used intravision, a form of front projection that combines pre-filmed background footage with foregrounding action. Stop motion and mechanical puppetry was also used to bring the skeleton army and Evil Ash to the screen.
Bruce, in this scene I want you to act very scary, but not too scary. Put that special dark humor edge on it that you're so good at.
Let me try it, Sam.
All right then.
Hey, you bony devil. Let's go.
Feeling as though he was in the best shape of his life, Campbell put his all into the performance, and his insistence on doing many of the stunts led to him suffering a number of accidents that required a trip to the hospital. There were a few other moments of on-set catastrophe as well. A massive 25-ton crane they were using to drop the Oldsmobile for a shot malfunctioned, causing the entire thing to topple off a cliff and fall into the quarry below. Despite these problems, the shoot wrapped up on time and within budget.
Sam's never, ever lost his sense of humor and his love for movies and his thirst for teamwork. He expects you to bring your skill and talent and expertise to his movie.
The film begins immediately after the events of Evil Dead 2, with Ash narrating how he and his girlfriend Linda went for a vacation at an old cabin and discovered the book Necronomicon Ex Mortis, or the Book of the Dead, unleashing demonic forces. After reading a spell to defeat the demons, Ash is sucked into a time vortex with his Oldsmobile and transported back to 1300 AD England, where he's captured by Lord Arthur's knights.
I believe he is the one written of in the Necronomicon. He who's prophesied to fall from the heavens and deliver us from the terrors of the Deadites.
While a wise man in their midst believes Ash to be the hero of legend detailed in the Necronomicon, the rest assume him to be a spy for their nemesis, Duke Henry the Red, and so, robbed of his weapons and chained, he's led back to Lord Arthur's castle. Arriving, he's dumbstruck at the sight of peasants and knights as Lord Arthur explains that a curse has begun to crop up in the land. Essentially labelled as the cause for this evil, Ash and the captured soldiers of Duke Henry are condemned to death.
Into the pit with those bloodthirsty sons of war!
However, the true source for this evil is the Candarian Demon, a violent and malevolent ancient entity that feeds off the souls of the living. While essentially immortal, it can be contained within the Necronomicon by using ancient rituals detailed within the text. Select passages in the book also speak of a legendary hero that can save humanity. Sent into the pit, he puts up a fight against the Deadites and ultimately escapes with the help of the Wise Man. Beaten, bruised, and pissed off, he uses his boomstick to force Lord Arthur to release the other captives. Believing him to be the hero of prophecy, the Wise Man tasks Ash with a quest to retrieve the Necronomicon. In addition to containing the demon and stopping the curse, the book will enable them to send Ash back into the future, so he begrudgingly agrees.
Groovy.
Equipped with a new prosthetic hand and falling for a maiden named Sheila, as you do, he heads out to recover the Book of the Dead. Unfortunately, moments into the journey, Ash is attacked by the demon and forced to find shelter on the edge of the forest. While the walls provide safety from the onslaught outside, paranoia begins to surface in his mind. With a few shards of the mirror creating tiny reflections of Ash, the demon possesses them, causing them to spring to life. Catching him by surprise, they manage to restrain him long enough for one of them to dive into his mouth and begin feeding on his essence. Despite his efforts, it eventually grows into a fully formed clone and splits from his body, creating Evil Ash, who, for all intents and purposes, can breathe fire, convert humans into Deadites, and wants nothing more than to rule humanity.
Hey, what's that you got on your face?
Huh? I'll come back for you!
Following a battle with his lesser half, he arrives at the cemetery and discovers 3 books. After making a handful of mistakes, he identifies the correct book, but forgets an important incantation, unleashing the full evil of the Deadites. The same time he returns to the castle with the book, Evil Ash is resurrected as a warlord for his army of darkness.
Dig, damn you! Dig faster! I shall command every worm-infested son of a bitch that ever died in battle.
Despite being initially terrified of the battle ahead, when his lover Sheila is kidnapped and forced to be the warlord's consort, his courage returns and they begin preparing for war. Using a chemistry textbook and spare parts from the Oldsmobile, Ash introduces them to the power of explosives to bolster their defenses. Despite this, the army of darkness descend on the castle and eventually break through the walls. With the surprising help of Duke Henry, Ash is able to outwit the evil clone in explosive fashion and defeat its forces. And with the world now rid of evil, Arthur and Henry settle their differences, ushering a new era of peace throughout the land. As a reward for bringing the two peoples together, Ash is finally returned to the future, where he essentially recounts his tale of triumph to a co-worker, before killing one last Deadite in the theatrical ending.
Sure, I could have stayed in the past. Could have even been king. But in my own way, I am king. Hail to the king, baby.
It should be noted then that the original ending is far bleaker, providing an interesting setup for a 4th Evil Dead film that never came to fruition. In this alternate conclusion, Ash takes a sleeping potion from the priest, each drop of which would put him in a 1,000-year sleep, and this was essentially how he was going to return to his time. The only issue is, hiding away in a cave, he would get distracted and drink one too many drops, causing him to oversleep and wake up in the post-apocalyptic world of the future, where everything has been obliterated.
It was the second time we had a movie recut by the studio. It was getting old. We were like, is this what happens? Does every studio movie get recut? And I think the answer is kind of yeah.
Unfortunately, Universal would not accept this prequel to Mad Max and forced Raimi to create a goofier and more audience-friendly finale.
And the winner is Sam Raimi. Thank you very much. Great honor to receive this award.
I'm very grateful for all of you fine and wacky and unique fans for sitting through ridiculous movies like Army of Darkness.
After some conflict between Raimi, Universal, and many ratings boards, Army of Darkness was officially released in February of 1993, making over 3 times its budget. Reactions were mostly positive, with viewers praising the fantasy setting, humorous tone, ensemble cast, and the practical effects, but some were disappointed about the departure from the over-the-top gore and horror the series was known for.
This is my boomstick! Shop smart. Shop S-smart. You got that?
At the end of the day, Bruce Campbell is bloody amazing in this installment as a more tempered Ash, and despite the ridiculousness of what's happening around him, his humorous grit and Raimi's amazing vision help keep the film from falling off the rails. But with that said, of course, we'd love to hear what you guys thought about the film and the overall series, so please share that in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, come join our regular streams on Twitch, and yeah, if you have any other suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. As always, it's been a pleasure. Niyat here with Film Comics Explained. Thanks for stopping by.
I think I played the S-Mart stock boy. I'm on the wall fighting Deadites with Marcus Gelbert. Then I am frightened lieutenant, screaming that I wanted to run.
I'm afraid there's one of us own.